What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Passable Ball Knowledge Podcast. My name is Sam. That is Aaron. Today, we are going to be covering the Super Bowl, the last game of the 2025 season. It felt like it came up so quickly, and now we are on Super Bowl Eve, the Saturday before the Super Bowl, and we're going to be breaking down the game, the matchups on both sides, and what each team needs to do to win. But before we get into that and the kind of one news piece that we have, Aaron, how's it going?
Pretty good.
All right. Well, we're going to jump into the one piece of news that we really have to talk about. And that is the Maxx Crosby trade rumors. Earlier this week, Jay Glazer said that it feels as though across the league that Maxx Crosby has probably played his last snap as a Raider, and he will likely get traded this offseason. Diana Rossini said something similar this morning, was a little bit less kind of sure of it, but she did say that there will definitively be trade discussions held around Maxx Crosby this offseason. And the Raiders, may consider to get rid of him. This is a guy who is a perennial 10, 15 sack player every year, one of the best defensive ends in football, one of the best edge rushers in football, one of the most versatile defensive linemen in football. And this is a dominant player that could really change any organization that gets him. But Aaron, I guess we'll start with this, right? I mean, for the Raiders, what does it mean for the Raiders organization for them to trade away Maxx Crosby? I mean, presuming that they would probably get something like 2 first-round picks. I mean, where would your stance be on like what this means for the Raiders and where you think they're going as an organization if they move on from him? You're muted.
I think if you trade him, it's like official, like full rebuild. Like we're kind of just like starting over again, and keeping essentially no one except for like Ash and Genty. Um, but like we're starting over, we're freeing up cap space, and we're just gonna start brand new with a new coach. That will be Clint Kubiak.
I mean, for the Raiders, this would be a full restart. Like this is not necessarily like, hey, we're trading a pretty good player who's on an expiring deal. Like this is a team with already not a lot of talent trading their best player. And their best player is one of the best players in football. I think anyone would agree that Maxx Crosby is a top 10 non-quarterback player in the NFL, a guy who could instantly level up your defense. Um, I mean, with the trade rumors, I guess now you have to ask where would he go? Like, what is the situation that makes sense for him? Now, there are plenty of places that I mean, there are a lot of teams with cap space. I guess the question would become who has cap space and the picks, and would realistically be in a situation where they'd want to go for a guy like Maxx Crosby. That presumes that this is a team that is either contending or thinks that they can contend with one or two more additions. Um, Aaron, if you want to unmute, we can have a little bit of an open discussion here. I mean, where do you think? I mean, like Maxx Crosby kind of makes sense for a lot of places. I know that not for a fact, but there were some reports that essentially confirmed that the Seahawks offered 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby at the deadline, and the Raiders said no. Now, obviously, deadline prices are a little bit different from off-season prices, so maybe 2 first-round picks in the off-season gets it done. But it seems as though that for the Raiders in at the deadline that wasn't enough. So looking at the salary cap situations, looking at teams that are in certain situations, what is one team that immediately jumps out to you as a team that could go for a guy like Maxx Crosby?
I mean, like you just said, I think the Seahawks are the team that really just sticks out. They're the best team with the most cap right now, and I think if you really want to just like make that defense like the defense in the league, I think adding someone like Maxx Crosby could just easily do that for this team. But also someone that stood out was the Chargers. Um, I believe is Khalil Max on the team?
Khalil Mack is a free agent. He's 35 years old. There's rumors that he might retire. I know that he was rumored to retire last offseason, and the Chargers ended up convincing him to come back for one more year. So it is
But yeah,
unclear if Khalil Mack is going to be around.
he's been like pretty productive for you in his time there, and so I think replacing him with a guy that's just like even better um, can help you a lot. Like you're really investing in the offense this year, and now, um, and I think if you add, Maxx Crosby, they have the cap for it. Just kind of like why not for the Chargers? Keep them in California, or no, they're not in Oakland anymore. They're not in Oakland anymore. Keep them on the West Coast.
For me, I think the thing with the Chargers is, would the Raiders be willing to trade him to a division rival? Like, I guess that's the
Yeah.
point for me that kind of stands out. Now, once again, if you're going into a full rebuild, I don't know how much you care that your division rival has a player. If, let's say, that they by far and away give you the best offer, if you're already going to be rebuilding and you're admitting that, hey, these next 2 to 3 years are going to be a bit of a reset for us, I don't know if you'd care that much, but who knows how the Raiders operate. I mean, I'll tell you, do you think if the Seahawks win the Super Bowl that changes how aggressive they are for Maxx Crosby? Like maybe if they lose, they have this mindset where it's like, hey, we need to get aggressive and try to build on what we have this year. Because in my mind, I don't think that if the Seahawks win the Super Bowl, I don't know how aggressive they're going to get with adding another piece by giving up all this draft capital. Like, I mean, do you think that would change the equation? Because in my mind, I think it does. I think if they lose the Super Bowl tomorrow, I think it changes a lot of how they approach this offseason.
Maybe, but at the same time, it's like the Chiefs never stopped adding when they won Super Bowls. So like we've seen a lot of teams that just keep adding and they say, why not try to go back to back with a better team? Why not try to three-peat with a better team? So I don't really know like how much them winning the Super Bowl affects their outlook on Maxx Crosby like specifically because Maxx Crosby is like it's Maxx Crosby, like you do whatever you can to get him. So I don't know how much it changes their philosophy on him, but I see what you mean where like it could change their philosophy like throughout the offseason though.
Yeah, a couple teams that stand out to me. The one team I see here, besides teams that you already mentioned, the Commanders. This is a team that I think like they were so close to getting to the Super Bowl. I mean, they made the NFC Championship last year. This year they missed the playoffs. You wonder if Dan Quinn and co feel it like that defense was bad this year for them. You wonder if they feel as though like, hey, we need to get aggressive if we want to keep our jobs, if we want to kind of take that next step. I'll tell you one team that I can't stop looking at on this list here. There's a team here. They are seventh in salary cap. They have 47 million in effective cap space, and they have a pretty good draft pick to trade. I wonder if the Cincinnati Bengals would be willing to get aggressive for someone like Maxx Crosby, where they're probably looking at Trey Hendrickson leaving this offseason, and they are going to be in a situation where they have Joe Burrow, and there's some murmurs that Joe Burrow is not happy with how things are going. They are also in the same situation where they have a coach who is a little bit more of like on the hot seat and might understand, hey, we need to win soon or else my job is on the line. And I think for Maxx Crosby, but my concern for the Bengals is that is a famously cheap organization. And I wonder if the owner specifically would be willing to, go out and add another player who's like pushing them towards this like salary cap hell that they're going to be in the next couple of years where they have all these super expensive players. Because when you have to pay those salary cap fines, I believe that comes out of the owner's pocket. So you wonder where they go there. I mean, a couple other teams, the Rams are always aggressive in adding. However, I think their defensive line is really good. And like, I don't know where exactly Maxx Crosby would fit. I think they'd be more likely to invest elsewhere on that roster. The Patriots, not the Patriots, the 49ers struck me as a team that was also interesting. Their pass rush was terrible this offseason. The big thing for me is that Nick Bosa was hurt a lot of the year. You're probably banking on Nick Bosa coming back, being elite again. And then you also spent a near top 10 pick on Mykel Williams at edge. So, like, do you just want to let him develop coming off the torn ACL and give him a chance to really grow? Because if you trade for Maxx Crosby, you're essentially capping him at a rotational defensive end, which I don't think they want him to be. I mean, I guess this brings it to the ultimate question. We'll obviously have more talks about this once we get to the offseason. But I mean, Aaron, do you think Maxx Crosby will get traded?
Um, I don't think he will. I think we've kind of seen like time after time again, like these huge names on the trade market, like Miles Garrett. Um,
The
and
only
then we
one that
just
ever materialized was Micah Parsons. Like that's the only one.
yeah, and then I think it's just like constant disappointment with like trades, and I just don't think it's going to end up happening. I think they have a very high, um, price on him, obviously, and I just don't think I think they're going to be kind of stubborn about him, and it's just not going to get done at the end of the day.
I think I'm in a little bit more of a open-minded boat, but in a similar boat, I guess, where it's like I don't think he will get traded, but I do think that there will be serious discussions about Maxx Crosby. My concern with the Raiders is like I wonder with that organization being as bad as it is, how much are they focused on like, hey, if we trade this guy, like the fans are gonna fucking hate us for getting rid of him. He's a consummate Raider, but at the end of the day, there is a world where Maxx Crosby asks out, like, "Hey, you guys sat me the last 2 games and said I was hurt, even though I mean you guys were just trying to lose." So who knows? We'll see. This could also be something where it's like, hey, if this doesn't materialize now, this could be a deadline thing next offseason or next season for sure. So we'll keep an eye on that. Very interesting to talk about it, and obviously the rumors are going to be fun this offseason, but we're not at the offseason yet. We have a game to talk about tomorrow, the Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. This is the most unlikely Super Bowl on record as far as betting odds go. The odds of this matchup happening were 4,800 to 1 coming in this year. So this is a super unlikely Super Bowl. I think the only one more unlikely was like Rams or the I think this is the most unlikely by the entire outlook, but I believe the Rams in 1999 are the most unlikely one to ever make it. I think they had like 120 to 1 odds because that's when Kurt Warner came in as this backup who nobody knew about and obviously went on to win MVP. But I think it's Seahawks offense versus Patriots defense discussion time, where we're going to break down both sides of this game. There's a weird consensus where I think everybody's saying this is going to be a close game, but the Seahawks are going to win. That's pretty much the consensus everywhere. I haven't seen many people projecting like a blowout. But I think if I had to put like just a general guess on it, I would probably say 80 to like 90% of people I've seen are taking the Seahawks in this game. So let's just break it right open here, talking about the Seahawks defense versus the Seahawks offense versus this Patriots defense. I mean, this is Seahawks offense that coming into the year was a real question mark. You have Sam Darnold. They took a huge chance on him. You have this Patriots defense who is also a real huge question mark. They spent a ton of money on guys like Milton Williams, on guys like Carlton Davis, on guys like Robert Spillane, and historically, Harold Landry too. Historically, this type of thing hasn't worked. Like building your defense exclusively through free agency in one offseason, it essentially has never worked legitimately as like a actual strategy, but the Patriots have made it work. I mean, Aaron, I guess like I'll let you kick off this conversation here and we'll go back and forth. This is going to be a big breakdown. When you're looking at this defense, this Patriots defense versus this Seahawks offense, what matchups, what storylines, what things are popping out at you for either side of the ball?
I think in terms of Seahawks defense or Seahawks offense against Patriots defense, I think this is the toughest offense they've had to play maybe all year. But like especially in the playoffs where like they've only played like the Chargers and the Chargers, Texans, and the Broncos with a backup quarterback for the Broncos. So I think this is by far like the hardest challenge they've had on the defensive side of the ball. And I think there's still a lot of questions with this Patriots team. Like they had a really easy schedule all year. They've had decently easy playoff schedule even. So like, what's going to happen now in this game where you've really only played like like I said, like the Broncos and the Texans, who have like pretty bad quarterbacks. Now you play Sam Darnold, who can really just like turn it on when he kind of wants to. I mean, it's not sure if he's going to be there because he's been kind of inconsistent this year. Um, but I think this is easily the hardest challenge that the Patriots defense has had. Maybe who they played? They played the Rams, right, at one point.
Patriots, they did not. I think if I'm thinking back through their schedule, the toughest matchup is probably the Bills. They played them
Yeah,
twice, and then
and they allowed like 35 points
immediately,
to them.
yeah, they gave up a lot of points, and then immediately my mind goes to like the Ravens too, with like Lamar and Derrick Henry, but they also like got run all over in that game as well. So, um,
But yeah,
you know,
like this Patriots defense, I think still has a lot to prove um, in this game, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see.
yeah, I mean, for me, matchup that jumps out immediately when you're thinking about, like the keys to the game for both sides, the matchup of Jackson Smith and Jigba versus Christian Gonzalez. That one-on-one matchup is going to be really fun to watch, in my opinion. The thing for me that I immediately think about is like Christian Gonzalez is very good, but off the top of my head, I think like every single time JSN has faced one of these corners who everybody insists is like a lockdown, you're not going to get anything on him type of corner, he's pretty much won every single matchup. Like, he played against Jalen Ramsey and the Steelers. He had a really great game in that one. He played against Derek Stingley and had a great matchup. Like, I feel like he's had so many good games against some of these top corners. And I think that matchup in itself has been a little overblown considering the Patriots defense, I believe, mostly runs zone. So it's not going to be like Christian Gonzalez's one-on-one man coverage against Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't think they want that anyways because he's just such a dynamic route runner. And I think they will refrain from doing some of that man coverage stuff. I also believe that in general, Sam Darnold has struggled more against zone than in man this season. So that's going to be an interesting aspect to watch. Another big aspect for me is like Milton Williams has looked so good this postseason. I wonder how he matches up against a guy like Anthony Bradford. Like, what is that going to look like? Like, because that's a legitimate thing. I guarantee you they are going to be trying to get that matchup. Now, the good thing for Seattle is Seattle has this really interesting thing that where they've built their offense to have great blocking tight ends. Like their tight ends, AJ Barner, Eric Sauber, even Nick Collerup, who's kind of this undrafted rookie, all three of them are really excellent blockers. This Patriots edge rush is good, but it's not elite by any means. I wonder how much Seattle is content with allowing their tight ends to match up on those edge rushers who are a little bit skinnier and smaller, like the Caleb Chasins, those type of guys. And I wonder if they're comfortable letting their tight ends match up and then having the tackle chip on Milton Williams to help with that matchup because he's really been dominant this postseason. Same with Christian Barmore. Both have been very good. I wonder how much Seattle is going to let their tight ends kind of exist on an island and attack this defense. Now, Aaron, I have an interesting stat for you. And a lot of people I've seen some Patriots fans specifically saying this. I thought I'm a Seahawks fan, for anyone who doesn't know, so I'm gonna sound biased at points, but I swear I'm trying to be as partial as I can. I saw a Seahawks analyst say Patriots fans are right to think that this game will be close, but they're coming up with all the wrong reasons. Like you'll see a Patriots fan say something like, well, oh my God, what was the thing that I heard? Oh yeah, I think it was like, well, the Seahawks want to run the football, but they're going to be running it right at Milton Williams, and they haven't run it as someone as good as Milton Williams this whole postseason. Well, statistically, I think, and shout out to the Athletic Football Show for pulling out this stat. I think the stat was like the Seahawks run outside of the tackles on 65% of their runs. So a vast majority of the time, the Seahawks are actually not attacking the middle, they're attacking the outside. And the Patriots are 30th on success rate against yards or against runs outside of the tackles. That is a huge matchup. Like if the Seahawks can immediately control the edges with how good their tackle play is and how poor the Patriots have been at stopping the run, I think like that's a great way to kind of neutralize whatever impact is going to be happening in the middle of this defense. Um, this is going to be a really interesting matchup. I mean, Aaron, I guess it really comes down to this. This is a very aggressive Patriots defense. Do you trust Sam Darnold in this matchup? Like, that's the question that I have for you as a neutral observer. Do you trust Sam Darnold?
I think I do. He played a really just like fantastic game against the Rams, and that Rams defense I think is probably better than this Patriots defense, or at least has proved more than the Patriots defense. So I think I trust him enough. I think I trust him and like the Emerald City Route artists to just like have a good enough like connection like the whole game. And I think that as long as they have the Ekra, like they're good.
For me, I think there's going to be someone in this game other than JSN who's going to have a big day. Like I think the Seahawks have shown you that
Jake
through like,
Bobo.
well, listen, in the first game, Jackson Smith against the 49ers, where the Seahawks just infamously just dominated. You know, like their Jackson Smith and Jigba had like 2 catches that game for like 15 yards, and it was Cooper Kupp who was consistently getting open. I think he had like 5 catches for 70 yards or something. It was like his best game of the year. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, you know, like he obviously has that very quiet game against the Niners, and then he blows up against the Rams, like 10 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown. I think it's gonna be somewhere in the middle. Like I think he's probably gonna have like 6 catches for 80 yards. Maybe we'll get in the end zone once. There's going to be someone else on the Seahawks team that's gonna have to step up. In my mind, I immediately want to say that that's gonna be a guy like Cooper Kupp. I wonder though, when is like Rashid Shaheed obviously had a huge catch in that first game, in that second game against the Rams, had that 50-yard catch down the sideline. I wonder if they really try to like utilize him much more and as a kind of threat in the passing game more than they have been at least. Someone's going to step up in this passing game. I'm curious to see who it's going to be. In general, Aaron, I mean, the Patriots are kind of the underdogs in this game for me. I think in order for the Patriots to win, and this is my opinion, the Patriots are going to have to turn the ball over at least twice. Like, I'm going to be honest, when we get to the Seahawks defense versus the Pats offense, I'm going to discuss this more. I don't think the Patriots offense is going to have a lot of success moving the football. I'm just going to be honest. They are going to need some short fields. They're going to need some just immediate, like, hey, we're already at the 40, and now all we need is another 20 yards to be in safe field goal range or in the red zone. Now things can get interesting. So, like, I think that is an absolute necessity. Like, you need to get a fumble, you need to get a pick, you need to do something to turn the ball over, because I think that's going to be absolutely crucial to this game for the Patriots. I mean, for you, where do you fall kind of on like what needs to be done by both sides in this game for each side to have that successful matchup?
I think it's kind of the same for both offenses. I think it's don't turn the ball over. I think each quarterback has had their struggles with like their own turnovers. Like for Sam Darnold, it's obviously picks and like interceptions. Like we've seen him like kind of like lock in and not really throw those this postseason. But for like the Patriots offense, like you said, I'll go like we'll go deeper into this. But like Drake May's got to limit the fumbles. Like it's got to stop. And yeah, Seahawks defense has to force those turnovers. I think that's something that has proved to be pretty easy with Drake May, especially when you get pressure on him, whether that's he fumbles or whether that's like he's just under pressure and he throws a pick. I think that's like one of the weaknesses he's kind of shown this year. So and then Patriots defense, I think it's just turn the ball over. Like you're gonna like you said, I don't think the Patriots are gonna have too much like success. So you just gotta like get on the offensive side as much as possible to win this game.
Yeah, I think that in general, this Patriots defense, the goal is going to be, can we make this game ugly? But still, like the mindset is like, couldn't that also be what Seattle wants to do? Like you imagine that Seattle is also going to be in a situation where they are going to say, "Hey, oh, I just removed you from the stage. Let's make this game ugly, and let's kind of uh like just get them into a dogfight because we know that that's how we can win." So in general, I think for the Seahawks offense, the message is very, very clear. I say attack the edges in the run game. I say attack the middle of the field on defense. I mean, on offense for the Seahawks, like tight ends, I think are going to be a huge key. And also, I think that just don't turn the ball. Like you really, I know it's hard to say like, hey, don't turn the ball over. But man, like the way that the Seahawks lose this game, if you're writing the NFL script, is like Sam Darnold has like 2 picks and a fumble. Like that's how the Seahawks lose. And this Patriots defense is very aggressive, and that has its pros and cons. For instance, in the first 2 games where the Seahawks played the Rams defense was very, very aggressive. Those Rams corners were very aggressive, and they turned the ball over a lot. But then in the playoffs, you could see that the Seahawks offense kind of figured out how to counteract that aggressiveness by using some double moves, getting guys more kind of taking advantage of that aggressiveness and turning it into big plays. So in general, I think the Patriots defense needs to turn the ball. They need, like, it's not even like, obviously, yes, defenses, you want to turn the ball over. The Patriots defense needs to get at least 2 turnovers in this game. Like 1 turnover probably isn't enough to sway the game in a huge way unless it's like a super low scoring game, or unless if it's like a turnover that gets you to like your 10-yard line or something, or the 10-yard line. In general, I think you need to force 2 turnovers, and you need to. It's hard because like people during the conference championship game were saying you need to make Sam Darnold beat you. You need to make Sam Darnold beat you. He did it. Like Sam Darnold did it. The Rams made Sam Darnold beat them, and he did. So like it's not that easy for the Patriots to just be like, hey, let's just make Sam Darnold beat us. You just really can't. And like he can still do that. He just proved that he can. I think you just have to make him as uncomfortable as possible, try to get him out of rhythm, and try to you need to force a couple turnovers, and that could sway this game in the way it needs to go. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup where, I mean, like, Seahawks offense has been elite this postseason. The Patriots defense has been elite this postseason, and those are going to have a collision course in this playoff game. So going to be fun to watch. We'll move on to the Seahawks defense versus the Pats offense side of things. I think, Aaron, I'll actually let you start. For you, what's the big thing that you're looking for when the game starts and you're in your mind, you're putting together a picture of what this game looks like when this matchup is happening on the field? What are you thinking about when you watch, and what are you looking out for?
The main thing I think I've been watching, I think I talked about this a little bit already, but like this Patriots defense or this Patriots offense has played, or this Patriots team in general has played a lot of teams with great defenses and bad offenses, but now you're facing a team with a great defense and a pretty great offense too. So I think for this Patriots offense, things finally need to click in this game. They really haven't clicked all postseason. Like they needed 4 turnovers to score 28 points against the Texans, and one of those came on defense. So I think this Patriots offense just really needs to click. Um, and like this isn't the best pass rush you faced all season, but it's maybe the best like secondary and just like overall um, defense that you faced all year, the most balanced. Um, so I think that this Patriots offense just finally like needs to gel, and I think also a key is You got to protect Drake May. If you're the Patriots offense, he is unbelievably fumble prone. Like it's like kind of shocking just how much he fumbles. Um, so I think you just really need to protect him. And I assume Leonard Williams will be on Will Campbell, right?
Well, we'll get to that matchup for sure. That's gonna be one of the things I watch. I mean, I guess I'll
Um,
just yeah. I think it will be Leonard Williams, Demarcus Lawrence, and Derek Hall all lining up, and I'll discuss why that's significant in a
yeah.
second.
So I think you just really need to protect the quarterback as much as you possibly can, and that's really the key for the Patriots in this game. Just to protect Drake May and let him be comfortable enough in the pocket to score enough points for the Patriots defense or for them to win.
Yeah, for me, the big thing that comes to mind is the regression that the Patriots offense has seen in the playoffs. And specifically, the regression, when I'm discussing that, is talking about Drake May's regression. And you have to listen to this statistic. This is nuts. So during the regular season, Drake May's sack rate was 7.8%, which, ranks is actually like above average as far as taking sacks. And he had a 20.6% pressure to sack rate. So on about 1 in 5 pressures, he was getting sacked. So those numbers are pedestrian, are like good to pedestrian. For the playoffs, his sack rate has almost doubled to 14.7%. Think about that. On about 1 in 6 dropbacks, Drake May is getting sacked. So that is a nuts stat, but this is the really crazy one. His 20.6% pressure to sack rate turns into 45.5% pressure to sack rate. So on about half of his pressures, he's getting sacked in the postseason. I don't explicitly know whether this is like he's like whether it's a Drake May thing, whether it's an offensive line thing, but regardless, that stat is there. Drake May has been getting hit way more, he's been getting sacked way more, and at the end of the day, he has looked just much more uncomfortable and not like himself in these playoffs. So that is the big thing. And then, like you said, versus Will Campbell. So Will Campbell has short arms, like that's known. Um, so like that's significant. And I believe, according to the Athletic Football Show, a vast majority of his sacks that he's given up are against long arm defensive ends. Every single defensive end that he's going to face is a very long defensive end. Like if you look at Leonard Williams, you look at Demarcus Lawrence, you look at Derek Hall, these are guys with their hands are at their knees when they're standing straight up. Like these are guys with super long arms, super powerful. He specifically, I think, struggled versus bull rush. Like in this postseason, you've really seen him get bullied by Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson and those guys. And like Demarcus Lawrence and Leonard Williams and Derek Hall are guys that are going to put their hands in your chest and they are just going to push you. And that Patriots left side is weak. That is a weak, real weak part of their offense. And I think for as much people have been talking about the matchup between Milton Williams and Anthony Bradford, you have to talk about the Seahawks edge rushers versus that left side of the offensive line. Because like they have been a greater liability, especially in the postseason. And the Seahawks pass rush is extremely effective, and they have waves of pass rushers. And their fourth best pass rusher is Boye Mafe, who is probably going to get like $13 million plus this offseason as a free agent. So they just have waves of guys who are going to affect you. And it feels like it never ends with this pass rush where there's not a real moment where you can breathe. Like when Will Anderson comes off the field for the Texans, that's your exhale moment. When Demarcus Lawrence comes off the field for the Seahawks, now you got Leonard Williams lining up over you. And then when Leonard Williams comes off the field, then you're going to have Derek Hall lining up over you. Like these are all very effective, very efficient pass rushers. And they are bullies in the pass game and the run game. I mean, man, that is a absolutely huge part. Like if Drake May gets sacked 4+ times in this game and their offense has looked the way it has looked in the last 3 games, it's really hard for me to imagine them winning. Now, Aaron, what do you think this Patriots offense has to do to pull off a win here against a defense that, I mean, they've played three great defenses in the postseason. This is the best one they've played. So where do you fall on what they need to do to succeed?
I think I kind of talked about it. Just protect the quarterback. You were kind of talking about it there. So it's a great pass rush. You got to protect the quarterback, and Drake May just has to play. Like, just play how you were playing in the regular season. I know you had a really easy schedule, but like you're you're your second MVP voting, and you haven't played a great game this postseason. So I just think that the key for the Patriots is obviously, the quarterback stats to come alive, and I think in order for him to do that, he has to be comfortable in the pocket, um, which means the Patriots O line just has to, guard up. No fumbles, no picks, no crazy pressure rates. I think this is probably one of the easier uh, D lines you've played all year, or like all postseason. Even though they're still a great D line, I think they're easier because you don't have like Nick Bonito or like Will Anderson coming off the edge. But um, yeah, I just think you have to protect the quarterback, and Drake May just has to find himself again and do what he was doing in the regular season.
A little stat I just pulled up here. So I think infamously Drake May really struggled in that Texans game in the postseason. Especially Will Campbell really struggled in that Texans game. Um, Will Anderson is tied for first in the NFL in forced fumbles with 6. You know who he's tied with? DeMarcus Lawrence. So, like, you think the Seahawks defense isn't thinking about swatting at the football every single chance they get when they get near Drake May? Because he's had some security problems, man. What does he have, like,
It's
combined
like
with the
17
postseason?
fumbles or something like that.
Yeah, he has like 17 or 18 fumbles, and not all of those are lost. But regardless, like, people, once again, they will talk about the Sam Darnold turnover problem and all that. Drake May puts the ball on the ground more than any quarterback in football by a pretty decent margin. So, like, that is going to be a factor here. Um, I think for me, the other thing that I'm really worried about with this Patriots offense versus the Seahawks defense is this Patriots offense, especially their pass game, is heavily built on explosive plays, like 20+ yard plays. You think about like Keyshawn Booty, you think about Kyle Williams, think about guys like that who are going to get downfield and they're really going to, have these big time explosives. Aaron, I have a little fun trivia for you. In the
Okay.
last two Rams games that the Seahawks played, they gave up 10 explosives, which is a lot in 2 games.
Mhm.
10 explosives is a lot. Guess how many explosive pass plays they gave up from week 2 to today, excluding those 2 Rams games?
I'll say 4.
All right, well, 10. You underguessed.
Okay.
They
Okay.
gave up 10 all season. And the Rams were the real only ones to exploit them. The other one was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that game, where Nicky Manwari, Tariq Woolen, and Julian Love all got hurt in that game. So that's another aspect there that you have to take into account. Now, the thing with the Rams is that the reason why the Rams are so effective against the Seahawks defense is that they have 2 of the best wide receivers in the world. That's a big part of it. They have Matt Stafford, who, if you ask me, is throwing the ball better than anyone in the game right now. And Drake May's great, but like Matt Stafford just has this, like, literally, like, there was a play against Josh Jobe where Matt Stafford. Do you remember this play? You might not have been paying attention to the game as close as I was, where there's a play action and Matt Stafford throws to Colby Parkinson and it's over Josh Jobe's finger
Yeah, I
by like
remember.
this much. And it is like he has this ability, like, hey, if you're covered, he can throw it so fast and so accurately that it doesn't really matter. Drake May can do that, but I think Matt Stafford is the best at that. Third, Josh McDaniels is a great offensive coach. He's not as good of an offensive coach as Sean McVay. Sean McVay has been the only offensive coach to be able to effectively scheme his receivers open like they have. So for the Seahawks, like when you're looking at these matchups, you're coming off playing Puka and Devontae Adams. Now the number one threat is Keyshawn Boutte and Stephon Diggs, they're both good receivers. They're both very good receivers. They are not elite, dominant. These guys can take over a game receivers. And I think when this Patriots offense is so reliant on explosive plays, that is going to be a problem. And the Seahawks are so stubborn and especially not giving up the run game that much. I expect that the Patriots won't be able to run the ball that effectively. Seahawks are the best run defense in the NFL. Just in general, I don't see this Patriots offense having much success. The one place where they've been able to open it up this postseason that I think could work into this as well is Drake May running the football and extending plays and making things happen with his legs and getting things out of, kind of formation and out of progression and then moving around and exploiting the defense. I think that is really where he's going to have to succeed. And, that's going to be a factor. But that being said, I think that the Seahawks, you can run, but they run a lot. Seahawks run a lot of zone, and they have an all-pro middle linebacker. They have Nicky Manwari, who's an athletic freak and is also an elite tackler. They have some great tackling safeties. Drake Thomas is another great player. It's really difficult for me to see the advantages for this Patriots offense at the end of the day against this defense like this. So, I mean, do you kind of fall in the same place where it's like you're just having to scrape together to find anything that works? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I think so because especially in this postseason, even though they're in the Super Bowl, the Patriots still have improved a lot to me, especially on the offensive side. They've proved they're pretty great defense, but they're still not a great offense. So yeah, that's really I've kind of forgot the question.
Well, no, it's like, do you feel like when I look at this matchup, I can see things for the Seahawks offense where it's like, okay, there's this, and then if you compare it with that, maybe you can put the pieces together. For the Patriots offense, I'm really having trouble finding two things
especially
to connect together.
Especially when you're the Patriots or when you're the Seahawks and you run such a I don't know if it's a coverage friendly defense, you favor coverage more than pass rush.
Well,
and the Patriots don't really have a standout receiver. They have Stephon Diggs who had just over 1,000 yards this year, but you don't really have a crazy standout receiver like you said. They have Keyshawn Boutte and Stephon Diggs, but those aren't guys that are gonna win you games.
Yeah, the thing for me, okay, I'm going to give a very, very brief lesson to people who may not understand why the Seahawks defense is so special and why what they do is so unique. Mike Macdonald, his whole philosophy is built on, I am going to play nickel all the time and I am not going to blitz. That is what he does. He will rush for a vast majority of the time. He will play nickel, which for those who don't know is 5 DBs. So that's 3 corners, 2 safeties, 2 high safeties, and then you have a slot corner. And he will do that the entire game, pretty much. He'll blitz a couple times here and there. Maybe he'll go to base a couple times. In general, he only plays nickel. Now, theoretically, what that means is that you should be able to run the ball better on them because they have 5 DBs and they're taking a linebacker off the field. The reason why Mike Macdonald is so good and the Seahawks are so good at this is because they have a guy like Nicky Manwari who is big enough and fast enough to the point where he's a nickel, but he's athletic enough to cover receivers and he's strong enough to defend the run like a linebacker. So that's why that plays such a deep role into who the Seahawks defense is. So basically, what they can do is they will only bring 4, and you can't run the ball on them because Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams are so good at eating up space, and you just can't run the ball. And then at the same time, you can't pass on them because it's not like they're blitzing and giving you open spaces. They are playing zone nickel coverage all the time, which makes it hard to find stuff downfield. So that's why the Seahawks defense is so good. And that goes directly against what the Patriots want to do. So that's why it's so difficult for me to find this advantage for New England, where they are pretty much every team that has played the Seahawks has not run the ball very well. And outside of the Rams, there have not been a lot of offenses that have thrown the ball very well against the Seahawks. So it's hard. It's going to be really difficult for New England on defense, on offense, which is why, like I said, I think you need to get turnovers, get short field so that the points can just come naturally, because you're not going to have as many explosives as you want. And unlike the Broncos game where, hey, you could score 10 points, but it doesn't matter because the offense you're playing just isn't good enough, the Seahawks will be able to score on you. Now, they won't necessarily blow you up, but the Seahawks offense is good enough to put up 30 points on anybody. Like, on any given day, that's what the Seahawks offense can do, especially in the postseason. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, this is going to be. There is a reason why the Seahawks are favored in this game, because the Patriots offense schematically just doesn't line up very well versus this Mike Macdonald defense, and the Patriots defense, does match up with the Seahawks offense well, but not as well as the Seahawks defense matches up with their offense. So that's going to bring us to the final point of this breakdown, which is who's winning the Super Bowl. Now, as you guys know, I have not been picking games because I'm biased. I'm a Seahawks fan. So if I pick the Patriots, it's probably because I'm trying to do some reverse jinx. And if I pick the Seahawks, it's because I'm trying to have like copium before the game and be like, okay, we're going to win. It's fine. So I've been abstaining. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to do something a little bit different. But before I pick, Aaron, I will let you go. Who do you think is winning the Super Bowl? And give me a score, man. I mean, this is going to be a fun game here. You're muted. You're muted.
I think all the things you talked about are going to kind of come into play in this game, and I think at the end of the day, the Seahawks will kind of pull away at the end, and I think the Seahawks will win this game like 34-17. I think it's going to be like a one-possession game. I think like 24-17, and then the Seahawks are going to score with like a minute and 30 left to kind of put the game away and win the Super Bowl.
Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be picking. I'm going to be doing my own way. So I'm going to give a score for if the Seahawks win, and I'm going to give a score for if the Patriots win. So this is like, I'm not necessarily picking a team. I'm just kind of trying to project how the game will go. If the Seahawks win, it's because I think the offense does enough, and I think the defense is in either situation is probably going to do very well. I think for me, it's like, okay, where does the offense come into play? If the Seahawks win, they probably have one turnover or less. I think that Jackson Smith and Jigba has success against this defense. I think that they're able to run, especially like we said, outside of the tackles and have success there. If the Seahawks win, I think it'll be like 27-20, like something like that, like 27-17. Like the Seahawks are kind of feels like they're in control the whole way, and then that's just how the game goes. But if the Patriots win, I think the Seahawks turn the ball over 2 to 3 times. I think the Patriots offense gets some short fields. They're able to put it together. And if the Patriots win, I think it'll be like 20-16, like very low scoring, tight game where the couple turnovers just make the difference and the Patriots don't turn the ball over. So that's my official projection. And Aaron, I guess we'll do one more thing for you. Who do you think is Super Bowl MVP as well? Who do you think is going to win that?
I think it's going to be. I mean, it's kind of hard to not say like Sam Darnold if the Seahawks win. 9 times out of 10, the MVP is just the quarterback of the team that won. So I'll just say Sam Darnold.
Okay. I don't know. It could be JSN. Another one, if you're thinking about like a dark horse, we haven't had a defensive MVP in a while, but like I could see a world where like if Demarcus Lawrence has like 2 sacks and a forced fumble and it's like a low scoring game, I could see him like getting like a sneaky MVP or someone like that. Um, yeah, if the Patriots win, I will probably pick a defensive player to be MVP. Like Milton Williams could get the MVP if the Patriots win, or Christian Gonzalez or someone like that. If the Seahawks win, probably book me for Sam Darnold. That's my hunch. So that does it for our Super Bowl preview. The last game of the season, we had to spend time on it. And by the way, I am excited to after this, we're gonna have a lot of off-season content coming for you. We're gonna do some breakdowns on like some free agency groups. We're gonna do some breakdowns on some teams. We have a lot of fun content for coming for you that way. So just keep an eye out for that, and we will obviously have a recap for you probably on Tuesday or Sunday night, depending. We'll see how it works. But before we go, as always, Aaron is going to tell us what happened today in history.
All right, today in history, February 7th. Before we start off, rest in peace, Terrence Gore, 2021 Braves legend. Rest in peace, Terrence Gore. But yeah, for today in history, so it was pretty big for you. Today in 1964, the Beatles arrived in New York. Sam's a pretty big Beatles fan. What else? Just trying to think about stuff that might have happened. Uh, Bruce McCandless became the first human to perform an untethered spacewalk. It's pretty fun. And today in 1992, the European Union Treaty is signed. I don't know if that means like it was formed or if that's just like when like they agreed to stop war, but that happened.
Pretty big day. Pretty big day. Pretty interesting. Shout out the Beatles. Aaron, aren't you going to ask who was? Yeah, don't you have something to ask me?
Who was born? Give me one person that was born today.
Well, as always, I'm going to give a couple honorable mentions. So I'm going to, before I wish happy birthday to someone, Chris Rock, it's his birthday. Matthew Stafford, it's his birthday. Gabby Hanna's birthday is today. Shadur Sanders' birthday is today. Alex Doherty. Alex Doherty's birthday is
Big
today.
Red.
Big Red. Garth Brooks' birthday is today. But if I had to wish a happy birthday to only one person out of all these deserving candidates can be happy birthday, man, I'm going to have to wish happy birthday to Isaiah Thomas, Celtics legend, short king. His nickname is the Pizza Boy. I didn't know that. He turns 37 years old today, and he's also a Seahawks fan. So I'm going to wish him a happy birthday. And I'm sure he'll be watching on Sunday. Isaiah, if you want to come on the podcast, let me know. So that is going to be it. We will see you guys next time. I hope you all enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe. Check us out on Spotify in the description. And if you're listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube in the description. So that is going to do it. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. Stay safe, drink responsibly, and have a good time. And if the Seahawks don't win, I'm going to be a very sour person. So we will see you guys next time. Peace out.